You a bit of an overview as to my thoughts on what we're going to be dealing with on the weekend, and it's basically a melted down version of what I've learnt in the 40 years that have taken place since I first started teaching in 1985. So, as you can see, I've got a bit of an overview here. The main areas I'm going to concentrate on in this little summary are numbers 2, 3, 4, and 5. Obviously, I'll give you an overview first, but the main part I want to start off with, and these are in my opinion, the order is important. So I've started with behaviour modification, which is basically how to get a kid to concentrate, or a teenager, or an adult for that matter, especially when the pressure on a person increases, as it should do in martial arts. Then I'm going to delve into a little bit of class planning. That'll take about a total of half an hour. Now, the bigger section is areas of coaching that I have found I have come back to all the time. Some of it is tried and true and traditional, and some of it's groundbreaking, but I'll give you a bit of an overview of that in a sec. And finally, the leadership area. Once your student database reaches a certain stage, whether someone likes it or not, if they're any good at teaching, they're going to have a problem with numbers, as in so many kids they can't handle, they can't teach them all themselves. So that's where you need to be able to identify methods of creating a leadership structure or a hierarchy underneath you. Anyway, let's have a look at it in a bit more detail. So, as you can see with my focus on behaviour and behaviour modification, this comes from my teaching ability as a school teacher. I've worked out that the ability of a person to concentrate is pivotal in getting them to be able to control their emotions and therefore make good decisions under pressure. Once they can make good decisions under pressure, we can talk to them about how to make good decisions in the dojo, whether they're doing a stand-up or a ground type curriculum, and therefore we link them later on to life. I've included some research on concentration, and the one I focus mainly on is the marshmallow test, but we talk about that later on. There's a bit more research. So my details in being able to modify someone's behaviour so that they can get through in martial arts and do a good job is I talk to the instructors about proximity, adding a name, appropriate touch, how we model correct behaviour, and as you can see there I'm pointing to a kid sitting upright, how we get them to progress. And finally, I spend a little bit of time talking about our character delivery system. It's our system of being able to deliver a character modification program. Then I get into class planning and I break it down. I talk about where I have come from, how my class planning has changed, when to follow a plan, when to break free from a plan. You can have a quick read of that. I probably won't go through too much about performance assessment at the bottom. As you can see, I can deal with attendance and quit rates and standards and what have you. But this is a basic class plan stolen from a variety of sources. At the top, the behaviour management system is stolen from the Education Department of Western Australia. The class plan is a mixture of different sources. A large part of it is from Straight Blast Gyms and Matt Thornton. So I'll explain more about that as we get into it. Then we get into coaching. And I've got a series of things that I tend to come back to all the time. Live drilling, mnemonics, heuristics, spaced learning is an educational term, and an important one is stress inoculation. So that is our coaching part of the program. Then I pose a question, and it was something that John Danaher mentioned in one of his podcasts, which is worth sharing with the guys. Do we teach just to the top 10 or 20% of our student database and basically forget the bottom 20? So it's quite groundbreaking bit controversial. Be interesting to see what everybody thinks of that. And then finally, the bit I'm really looking forward to is leadership. Now, I garnered most of this information from the Australian Defence Forces, from military leadership, but it's not entirely known from the Australian Defence Forces, and that's at least the start of it there. So that's my 4 areas, and then you can see I've got some other things that we do, and I think we do reasonably well. For example, the Montessori system, I've blended what I do with the Montessori educational system, and that'll be interesting for you guys to look at. And then I just go through some other bits and pieces that we do, and at the very end, we'll do a little bit of a Q&A and a discussion. So that's about it. Let us know what you think, and I look forward to seeing you guys pretty soon. Ciao.